Hello, I'm Jennifer with Jennifer Decorates, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a stunning Christmas floral arrangement. So one of my very favorite things to do is to make florals. I absolutely love doing it, and I don't think Christmas is any exception. So I picked a few flowers out that I think are gonna look gorgeous in a floral arrangement. I'm gonna do kind of a pretty dramatic one, but I don't want you to get intimidated because it's not that hard to make a floral, and I'm gonna show you step by step. Okay, start with this container. Now, one thing that's important to think about when you're doing a floral is the container itself. Now, the bigger the mouth of the container, the more flowers you're going to need to fill it up. Also, you want to keep in mind the height of your container because you want to make a floral that's consistent and that looks beautiful with the size container you're using. You know, if you have one this big and your floral only goes to right here, well, it's not going to be balanced out right. So this is pretty big, so I'm really kind of going for a huge dramatic effect. The first thing I need to start with is I need to get the styrofoam blocks in there. I'm going to see if 2 can fit. Nope, not quite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off some of this one. Okay, got that trimmed, and I'm just going to push it in there so it's really, really tight inside. Now, the next thing is I am going to choose, I usually when I make a floral, I like a large flower, a medium flower, small flower, and then a filler. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start with these beautiful frosted magnolias. Look how beautiful this white one is. It's stunning. And then I found this red one. This I like because it's going to come out from the container. So that's my medium flower. And then for my small flower, I've got this one. And for the filler, I'm going to use this frosted lamb's ear. I'm going to start with the red magnolias first, and I'm going to trim off some of the leaves. In fact, I'm going to leave just one, and so I kind of want to get a gauge of how tall I want it, and then you want to make sure you have got some really good pliers. And when you've got thick florals like this, if you kind of just move back and forth rather than trying to use so much muscle clipping it, it works better. So I'm going to stick one in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 more, and I'm going to spread them apart like in a triangle. I'll trim the leaves off of this one, and when I want to get it the same length that I did the first one, well, I just take the piece I trimmed off and kind of mark it with my finger and then snip it where I did the other one. I'll place this one here. And then I need one more. Trim all the leaves off. Kind of mark that one to right there. Alrighty. Now I've got 3. I'm going to bend it a little bit. Okay, this also lets me gauge about how wide I'm going to make the entire floral. Like I said, I'm going to kind of go for some drama with this one, so you can kind of tell if you look at the flowers, it kind of gauges about how far out I'm going to go. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the white ones, and I'm going to go in between each red one. I'm going to trim the green leaves off and trim them all the same. That's your first step. I used 3 red magnolias and 3 white and did red, white, trimming them all the same. And the next step is I'm going to use these flowers. Now they came with 2 pieces on them, and so I'm going to trim them both off. I'm going to place one in between each flower. And kind of let it droop. These are so pretty. And again, so there's 2 on this one as well. So I'm going to trim one off, and I may use that as a filler later, or I'll keep it to use for another project. Okay, and so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to put one in between each of the magnolias. Okay, now that I've pretty much got my base figured out, now I'm ready to kind of work on the height and what I want to do. And what I have decided is I want to do one red magnolia in the middle and then surround it by 3 of the white ones and do a triangle around the red one as well. I find doing floral arrangements in actually doing the flowers in odd numbers really seems to work out really well. So I'm going to start with putting the red one in the middle, and this is where I need to kind of determine the height that the floral is going to be. The floral is really starting to take shape. Now I want to add the frosted lamb's ear, and that's my filler. And so I'm going to snip it. It also has 2 different stems on it, so I'm going to use both of them. So when you want to start kind of filling in your floral, I want to keep my fillers in closer to the center rather than coming out. Because if you do that, it just creates more stem and more air. What we're wanting to do is fill in the floral. So I'm going to snip that just a little bit shorter and then set it in there. And what that's going to start to do, we're going to start filling in the floral. And we're going to kind of go all the way around it. So the frosted lamb's ear, you just fill in the empty spots. And I typically, when I'm using a filler, I'm wanting to always go below my biggest flowers. And I know you'll probably want to know like how many I use, but really it just depends on the floral arrangement. I just get it in there until I think it looks right. So the very last thing we're going to add are these very small flowers. So 4 things I like to use. Recap real quick, and that's the largest flowers, and then I like to do a medium-sized flower, and then I put fillers in an arrangement, and then the very last thing I do are the really small petite flowers. So let me add a few to the arrangement. And you got to remember, less is more. Just kind of going to go around. Oh, that's just so pretty. I love this. All right, let me finish adding to this floral. I've put all of the little flowers in. Remember how I said hang on to these, don't throw them away? Sometimes you might feel like, you know, it looks a little empty. So you take one of the shorter ones that you snip on the shorter flowers and just stick that in there. And I kind of just keep turning around and see, is there anything else that I kind of would like to maybe put one more flower in. Kind of fill it in. Loved how this has turned out. So whether you're going to make a huge floral like I did or even a smaller one, just keep in mind choosing a large, medium, and small flower and then a filler. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to have more videos coming out later.